Okay, so I just had another moment. I took my coffee and I wanted it to be warmer, so I put it in a mug and I put it in the the microwave. Um, I realized something about heat and distribution of energy. Um, I realized that when you let coffee just sort of like sit there, right, you get like this film on it. Well, on this pumpkin coffee, you get like a film on it. And it's like I remove that film, like removing the veil. And it's like you take all that concentration and you move it aside. I'm not sure if it just recreates and recreates and recreates, but maybe that's like all the oils that come up to the surface. And maybe that's what I feel. Maybe that's what I feel like when I say I feel like oily or something, you know. Maybe that's all the oils coming up to the surface. Um, yeah, so by like, you know, I can witness it outside. Actually, the weather's totally different right now, and it's like everything that I think about or come up with, I always check outside, and it's like I can check either my immediate reality outside, or I can actually use smaller things, like using something that has oil in it, and using these tools necessary to figure out something about lifting the veil. And since the smaller things replicate the bigger things, it's like, well, why couldn't it? Maybe it does. I literally have this bubble of clouds that go. It's almost like having your eyes kind of like semi open. That's what it looks like. It looks like that's what I'm seeing. It's like a slit, and it goes all the way around. It's like a perfect bubble around me of like this very very thin cloud. And what I noticed is that on the top of the viscosity, like on the top of this coffee, right? I noticed there were bubbles there. There's like these bubbles, these I guess oil bubbles, right? Like the bubbles I was playing with in the bathtub. It's like this film. These bubbles are underneath the film, and I noticed that when I add wind, when I blew on the top of it, it would move the bubbles from like the center or wherever they are to like the outsides. It would move it all to the outsides, and it's like, I mean, I don't know what it is with bubbles. I'm not even sure where I'm going with that, but I noticed something clicked in that moment, and I'm not entirely sure. But it's almost as if this is what I think in my head. It's like what that made me realize was, you know how you get like a computer screen, like the protective thing that goes on there, like your cell phone, right? You like smooth out the bubbles, right? Well, it's like the same scenario. You smooth it out with your hand, like you smooth it out with your hand, like a massage that works all the kinks out. But it's like the breath of life by breathing on it. When it's very very thin, it it moves the bubbles out differently, all depending on how thick your skin is, maybe. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to let this sit till it cools down and I get this layer. I'm going to remove the layer and then I'm going to try heating it up again. I do it for 2 minutes each time. And I'm going to see if I bring up the same amount of viscosity, because I'm really curious if there is a difference between oils and water. If it's like a part of the system and we think we're adding oils, or if it's a part of the system, it's always been a part of the system, and the way we're thinking about it is totally wrong. Because I know because what just clicked in my mind right now is about fish. Fish have a natural oil on their skin. Is it natural? I'm not really sure, but I know there's a duality for a reason. So maybe that's the difference. The oils. Something about the oils. Oil in the water. I never worried about it before. Adding too much to the system? Are we adding too much to the system? Maybe we were adding so many different things to our foods that the oceans had to balance it out by creating a situation to move fish around. You know what? I have no idea. I'm just basically thinking out loud about this one particular situation, because there's something about witnessing the oils that I'm drinking and feeling the oils in my system, and I feel it so intunely that I can't ignore it, and I want to figure it out by using something small. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then I'll get back to you on that. Alright, thanks for watching. Okay, so I just removed the first layer. I just removed the first layer of the oil, and it felt like mud, but it felt really oily. So then I washed it. I washed my hands under the, like I felt the oil right here, right? And my heart felt uncomfortable. Like your hands are connected to your heart somehow. Felt a little uncomfortable, so I put on the cold water, and I realized that the cold water wasn't really doing a whole lot to remove the oil. So then I put it on hot water, and I realized that that worked, but not really quite as well. So then I used the chemicals. I used like a soap to clean my system, and then I washed my hands off. And then I realized something about temperature, but also something about chemicals that actually made me feel better. Like it makes me feel calmer. Maybe that's the reason why they spray. I mean, I know I talk about this all the time, but it's yet another reason to talk about it again, is because for some reason the soap made me feel comfortable. That's interesting. Okay, so I can actually breathe a little better. That's weird. All right. So then, okay, I haven't heated it up the second time yet. I look at the top of this. I want you to be able to see it. Shit. Maybe you won't be able to see it. Alright. Maybe like this. Alright, I think you can see it. Alright. So as you can see, it's like these little bubbles there. But they're not extroverted, they're introverted. So it's like, what it reminds me of is, you know how people are posting pictures and videos about the sky, right? You know how the sky kind of looks like a wave, but it looks like little pockets, like little pockets in there, you know? And they're kind of like wondering about what it is, because I don't know if we've actually seen those kind of clouds before. Or maybe we have, but we haven't really paid attention. But I thought it was really interesting that, I'm not saying like the world is a cup of coffee. What I'm saying is that the heat distribution and the viscosity is still the same. Like the idea, the principles are still the same when it comes to science. I mean, when it comes to anything. So it's like I removed, alright, so I added heat. The oils came to the surface. I removed the veil, the viscosity, right? I removed that oil, okay, with the chemicals from off my skin. And then what I see revealed to me now is the same picture that I can actually see in the sky, the way the clouds act. So what I'm realizing is that the earth literally is cleaning itself by adding heat, cold, heat, cold. It's like it gets really, really hot. It brings up all the oils from the surface, all the stuff that maybe we put in there that were not so great. And then it moves it all the way up to the sky. And then it's like it gets really, really cold at night, okay? Like a desert. And then it's like it dissipates. I don't know where it goes. Space. It goes somewhere, right? The veil is removed. And then it's like the process happens every day, over and over and over again. And maybe that's the reason why maybe this is the reason why we're seeing so many change. I mean, like I said, I know I talk about this a lot, but it's yet another reason. This is probably the reason why that the temperature is so crazy town in other places, is because we want change to happen right now. We want it right now. We don't want to have to deal with the smoke and the smog and the chemicals and the oils and all this and this and that. But I think by realizing that the reason why this is happening is because that is what we want. The earth is like, all right, cool, I'll do that. We'll make it happen. But it's almost like saying, well, now don't be surprised if you realize that some places are too dry and I can't get the oils up very well, so I'm going to rain really hard in Arizona because it's like such a compact dirt that anything that's under there that needs to be uprooted has to like really, really, really rain, because when it's really compact, it just kind of like slides over the surface, and it's got to like seep and seep and seep. I mean, it's a desert, you know? So it only makes scientific sense that that would need more of that. So now that I've done this, I realize there is still more oil. So I'm going to stop this video right here, and I'm going to go heat it up for 2 more minutes and then watch the viscosity change, see if something else comes up. Yeah, so be right back. Okay, so I just did something else. I just put it in the I just put it back in there in the microwave for 2 minutes. And it was already pretty hot to begin with, so I knew it was too much, but I was like, well, screw it, let's just try it out. So I put it in there, 2 minutes, and then I realized to go check on it again. And I opened up the microwave, and it had spilled over all over the place. So it was too hot, it boiled over. And I was like, ah, crap, you know, no big deal. And I thought about all that oil and water that sort of just spilled over all over the place. So then I take it out, you know, I wipe off the glass, I put it on a napkin, and then I start cleaning the microwave. So I'm wiping it down, but there's something that's happening. I can hear spirit so well, and it's like slow. Like their voices were slowing down, I was slowing down, and it was like I was cleaning in a time warp or something. And in that moment, I was like listening to them, and they were talking about, well, they were basically helping me out with the figuring out of like people dying and what it looks like to us and what it actually is and why certain things happen. And it made me think, and when they were talking to me, I was picturing like artists in history, like artists and authors and suicide, okay? Suicide. Whenever I talk to my medium in Sedona, she would always tell me that a lot of my past lives involved sacrificing myself. Like I would literally sacrifice myself for the community. Like one instance that she talked about was she saw a vision of like a community that was in a place that didn't have enough food. Or water or whatever, so they decided to leave. And I said, well, I'll stay just in case. I'll stay and I'll watch guard or something like that. So they left, but they probably ended up finding food or water somewhere else. And she said that she saw me like in a cave or something, and I literally just withered away from starvation. So what the difference is between suicide and that, I'm not sure if there is a difference, because when I think about splitting atoms, when I think about that epiphany moment, and that moment, like there was so much truth in that moment. I was like, oh, I can feel it right now. I was like moving so slow, like that movie 300 where things move slow, and it's like, ooh, it moves you in a certain way. Or like Transformers, where like they go and then they stop, and it's like, you know, like it slows down and it does something to my brain. Like it literally like excites me so much. And it's like that which I witness is the same thing that I feel when I'm realizing a great truth. I'm like, whoa, and they were like, I don't know, it's like they didn't even have to say it. I just pictured it and I knew it. And it was like, it looks like it does to us, but maybe that's what's happening in another lifeline. Like maybe that's the reason why Jesus looked like he was sacrificing his body. But maybe he was like an author in another world who committed suicide. Or maybe he was just like my past life, where I sacrificed myself for the community by staying back just in case they wanted to come back. I don't know why I did that, but for whatever reason, that's what my medium picked up. But what's the difference? What's the difference between pushing your cellmates, your cells, your body so hard for whatever reason that you just split off into another dimension? You now just create another dimensional frequency. And maybe that's the difference. I mean, I don't know if there probably isn't a difference, but maybe that's what it is. When people fight each other, it looks like one person is destroying another person. And when someone like commits suicide, it looks like they're destroying themselves. However, I know the duality of this destruction and regeneration is really just transformation. So it doesn't matter how it happens, it simply happens that way. And I seem to be this individual that is less confrontational and more pushing myself, my mind, my body. I'm totally into that. Push myself to the limits just to see what it's made of. That's probably why I fasted for so long, to the point of like total exhaustion, because I just want to see what my body can do. I want to see what it's made of. I want to know. Yeah, it's a little scary, but I don't care. I know it's fantastic. Ugh. Okay, so now I got a really good viscosity going. There's like 0 bubbles now. There's like 0 bubbles. So I'm going to stop this right now. I'm going to remove the film, and I'm going to do it again, see what happens. Okay, so I just removed the film. I just removed the film. I just removed the film, and I see that the bubbles now, the bubbles are like on the surface, but it looks like, oh, that's interesting. Hold on a second. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they were on the top. They were on the top. The bubbles were like on the top, like real thin. And it looked to me like planets. Ow. Planets and stars. It looked like planets and stars. And I was like, like, I wonder if that's the difference between, like, with energy distribution. Is that it appears as if everything is far away, like the past, like being in the cosmos. But maybe what it is that there's so much congestion in between that it just seems like it's far away, because the aura energy might be a little bit different. But by moving through the system and pushing through, you like literally make changes by pushing through and taking in, like a vacuum. You take in the new air. Like when I say it feels like I'm breathing in water or oil, it's like I'm literally taking that concentrated formula out of the air. Just like the sun, it dries up, brings up all the oils and dissipates it, creating like less and less distance between us and those other dimensional frequencies. Maybe. So maybe that's what we're seeing out there, just these auras of your other selves. And they just look like stars and planets. Holy crap. Okay. So what I just did is I just took a sip, and it was like the oils from my mouth or the oils from my own system. It meshed with it at first, and the bubbles went from being on the top to being like upside down. But now I'm looking at it and they're on the top again. The oils from my own skin. Wow, that's good. Okay, so naturally I'm going to try this again and then make another video. Alright, be right back. Okay, so I just did it again. And I'm watching it. Now the layer is very thin. Okay, it doesn't even cover like the whole top. But what I'm seeing here is that what I picture in my head is it's actually taking the air from the outside and it's distributing the energy on the inside, because it looks as if it's pulling, like, you know, say you got like a bed sheet on, like, say water, okay, and it's like somebody's underneath it and it's like contracting, which gives it the appearance of movement. When you add light to it, it gives the appearance of movement, like waves. It looks like a living thing. It looks like a heart beating, because it's distributing energy, and it's like, it looks like it's pulsating or breathing or something. It's amazing. It's amazing. Whoa. Okay, so now I'm breathing on it. Whoa. This is crazy. Wow. Okay, so it's like it shivers. The coffee shivers. Maybe that's why we shiver. It's like I breathe on it, I blow on it, and the viscosity, like on the top, like our skin, it's like, and then I breathe on it again, and it goes, like just like our muscles, just like our skin when we're cold. Yeah, I add wind to it, and it clenches up, just like we clench up when there's wind outside and it's cold. That's amazing. I mean, I knew it already, but to actually see this happen in real life. Wow. Okay. I don't know. I'm enthralled by this. Just by doing this, I'm realizing that it's like the water literally shows me, like, what's happening in my own system by creating that layer. By creating that layer on top of it. When I speak, the water reflects exactly what it is that I'm saying, the frequencies. And I can see it from the skin. From the skin on the top of here, the skin shows me what's happening on the inside of the water. Okay, I guess that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. Okay. Alright, so I had one more thing to share. Alright, so I did it one more time. I put it on for like a minute or a minute and a half. And what I realized is that when I move it from like one side to the other, you can actually, whoa, I almost spilled it. You can actually see these outlines. You see that outline right there? Like down here? It looks like pictures, like a tree or something like that, like a holographic tree. And I can see that around the whole glass when I like move it around, you know what I mean? And it looks very filmy, but this time the film is on the bottom and not on the top, only when it's really, really hot. When it's really, really hot, it's like it takes it and it pulls it down to the bottom. And then it's happening right now. And when I let it cool, when it cools on its own, I'm literally watching the oils go from the bottom to the top. So I don't know what the difference is between what the deal is with the oils being on the top or the bottom, or how you distribute that energy. Maybe room temperature? I feel like there's something about temperature, oil, water. There's something about that, you know what I mean? So this is what I noticed, is that when you make it super duper hot enough times, there's no real film on the top, at least not as thick as it was at first. And when you do it enough times, it actually puts it on the bottom. But when you wait a while, it's like distributed, both on the top and the bottom. Tastes wicked good, I know that much. Like it actually tastes better. Like this coffee actually tastes better when I remove that film a few times. So there's something about pressure, heat, something about temperature, super, super hot, super, super cold, that actually brings the film out and removes it. And it, like, I guess it pressurizes the system in a way that actually takes away anything, any chemical process maybe that we don't like, and in that way our system accepts it easier. I gotta be honest, I'm not sure. I just know it tastes way better now that I did this. Like, amazing. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I just know what it tastes like, I know what it looks like, I know what it reminds me of, and I can tell my story. That's about all I know. Okay, that's all I gotta share. I think it's the last video of this section. Thank you for watching. Okay, I had one more thing. I know I said I was done, but I got one more thing. So I was drinking it. It's really good. It's like really good, right? So I'm drinking it, and I do this thing that I've always done. I sucked my thumb till I was like 8 years old. I enjoy that motion. So it's like, I know what it sounds like, but it is what it is. So it's like whenever I drink something, it's like I don't know. It's kind of like like a sippy cup or something like that. And I know what it looks like, I know what it sounds like, but I'm just trying to explain something about that movement that opens your airways, and it does something to your system that feels better. There's something about that system. It's almost as if, what it feels like to me is like your heart and your mouth are very connected. In your hands, your heart, mouth, and hands are very, very connected. So it's like when I feel something with my hands and my heart feels uncomfortable, I know there's something there I don't want right now. Excuse me. But it's like, no matter what I'm drinking, if I use that sucking motion, it's like it's almost as if it takes something out of my tongue and it's accepted on my tongue first before it hits my heart. Now, I don't know the science behind that, if that's true, but what I know is what I feel. And that's what it feels like. It feels as though that motion moves things through your whole system before it actually hits your system. It's almost like you prepare your body for something good by doing that. Maybe that's the reason why babies do that. It's the same reason that cats need. You're massaging. You're massaging like your brain and your body through one motion, through one organ. Yeah, there's something about that. And I know it sounds silly and looks silly, but I've done it my whole life. And there's something about that. And I can't stop doing it. It's like so ingrained in my nature that I do that sipping soda. I don't gulp it. It's like a sucking motion. Yeah, so I'm going to keep thinking about that and maybe why that seems to be something very, very important in my life. Okay, thanks for watching.